Welcome back to Life in Pinstripes. I'm James Yevon.
And I'm TJ Stolzenberg.
Number 18.
18, big man.
Sir Didi!
Didi!
First of all, I am so happy that Sir Didi is back in the lineup.
Yes. And his glove is a little right now.
It was a little but of course he's recovering from Tommy John surgery. This is his first game since the postseason
Long
last year.
time ago. So we'll take it because his bat is alive and well.
Yes, indeedy!
Well done there. Well done. So we were figuring out what we were going to talk about this week, and we both immediately knew who and what our tip of the cap moment was going to be for. And why don't you tell us who it's going to be?
All right. So with my imaginary cap, our caps. Well, at least you got
I got
yours.
a real one.
Is going to belong to Big Papi,
David Ortiz. Man. Violence is not good.
Violence is never the answer to anything.
And we never like it when anybody, ever, anybody in the world gets shot. But this moment, a senseless act of violence, for those who do not know, David Ortiz was in his home country
On Sunday.
and a man walks up to him from literally 5 feet away and shoots him in the back.
For no reason whatsoever.
Supposedly the bullet goes straight through and goes through his abdomen, and he's rushed to the hospital. He gets stabilized and gets brought back to
Boston.
It's a scary thing. Not only because, the violent aspect, but the fact that David Ortiz, Big Papi, man, what an icon. What a person. What, not only a player, but what a person, It was devastating to read that news. My jaw dropped, and I am just very happy to hear that he is at least stable and hopefully going to have a full recovery.
Yeah, and it's also us Yankee fans, Obviously, it's our job to hate the Red Sox, but
Yes.
I have never, ever hated on David Ortiz.
Yeah, we definitely fear him whenever.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta respect that man. He not only was just always a threat to us, always killing the Yankees, but he was so clutch. I think I looked it up. He has 11 regular season walk-off home runs
Yep.
and 2 in the postseason.
And I can name those 2 home runs that he hit in the postseason. One of them was against us in the 0-4 ALCS. It was Game 4.
Of course.
And of course, just a few days earlier, the walk-off that sent them to the ALCS against the Angels.
Yep. The man is more than a man. He's got a following that like no other. I mean, I tell you, we looked up his stats, just baseball-wise. Batted a career average of 286.
That's pretty solid.
That's including those years when he's just getting involved, So batting average of 286, nothing to sneeze at.
Yep.
But 541 home runs.
That's a lot of home runs. And 480 of them came when he put on the Red Sox uniform
Yes.
in 03, which is even more impressive.
He was there with the Twinkies for a little bit, and because he was with the Twinkies, his farm team, the Double-A team, was our New Britain Rockcats.
Ew.
I remember getting to see him. We didn't know who he was, but he was just the big blob over there. And man, I wish I knew who he was back then. But of course, you never know. And he went on to have 1,768 RBIs,
That's pretty solid.
a slugging percentage of .552, and an
Yep.
OPS of .931. That is a career average. The man is a beast.
Dude's a Hall of Famer regardless.
Hall of Famer. Can't hate on him.
3-time world champion too.
3-time world champion. And there was a little bit of, steroid weight.
There was a little, there may be a little thing around there. But, obviously,
He navigated out of that tundra and traffic and continued on with what was basically a spec-free career, no asterisks on his name. But, dude, he was the designated hitter. He is the definition of what you want in a designated hitter.
besides Edgar Martinez, he's probably the best designated hitter ever.
And that's such a true part of baseball that you really don't see. Just the big, like Mo Vaughn was kind of in that, just a big, chunky dude.
The home run or bust method.
Home
pretty
run or
much.
bust, but man, speaking of bust, we found out that actually David Ortiz rarely struck out, which you also do not see this day and age.
Yeah, but also, We did a little research. The middle age is like the 04 to 06. He struck out like around 150 times. But his final year, he only struck out like 86 times.
No, not 150. There was like 111.
Oh, yeah, 111. But
because we looked up other players, he averaged, like you said, 80 to 90 a year. And just to give reference or perspective, tell us who else numbers you looked up.
Okay, so, for random things, we live in a day and age where everybody's striking out like left and right and all that other stuff. For example, our guy, Giancarlo Stanton. Love him. Didn't like these numbers. So he had 705 plate appearances last year. He struck out 211 times.
705 divided by 211 is 3.34, right?
Once every 3.341 at-bats, he struck out.
So basically, once a game, he's whiffing and going back to the bench.
Yes.
The whole idea of a strikeout is it's non-productive. It does nothing.
No, it doesn't. It just makes you look foolish, first of all.
Even a little dink or a ground ball or a flyout can be used somehow, whether it shifts a base runner over or at least puts pressure on the defense to do something. Strikeouts do nothing for anyone except anger us all and make the pitcher feel like his stuff's on that day.
Exactly. See, we don't want that. See, everybody's striking out like close to 150 to 200 times.
Yes. And what was that?
Judge struck out like 208 times in his rookie year.
And he did amaze us with the long ball, but we thought to ourselves, let's look up some baseball icons.
Yeah, so, we want to go back to the Hall of Famers back in the 1940s. Like, Joe DiMaggio, 1941, also the same year where he had that 56-game hitting streak.
Wow.
So, get ready for this one. He had 622 plate appearances in that iconic year. Struck out only 13 times.
13.
Just 13. In 622 plate appearances. So, I did the math. It's like once every, 47, 48 at-bats.
Wow.
That's how much the game has changed. No one is focused on the contact. Like I said, I don't know how many times we mentioned this. They're focused on the home run ball, or they're striking out in very big situations. I don't like that. I like the small ball method.
Because we were saying, Bryce Harper's batting 230. I heard it the other day. Kenny Singleton said, with Ted Williams, a Joe DiMaggio, a Mickey Mantle, they would never be caught dead batting 230. Yes, their averages were studly in the high threes or whatever, but they would never do anything bigger than themselves. They were team-oriented, whether it was just once the 2 strikes were on you, choke up the old school way, shorten your swing, and just put the bat on the ball. Don't see that approach at all these days.
Absolutely not.
They're always swinging for the fences, and I get it. I understand. It sells tickets. It makes you get a big contract, but
it doesn't make it.
It's gross. 13, 48, once every 48 appearances.
That's like once every
2 weeks.
15 games.
That's like once every 2 weeks. Versus once a day. It's production that you just don't see. Moving the runner over, like we said, small ball is dying. But teams that are good at it, like the Tampa Bay Rays, they're still sticking around. They're still fighting for good position in the AL East.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you ask yourself, what's more important? A win or a stat? I don't know.
I know. I also told you this too. If you're under a big contract, I don't care if it's 13-year, $300 million, and you're batting around 215 or 230, I would not be afraid to bench your ass.
And the Phillies fans are booing him.
Like I said, if you're getting booed by your own fans,
and
you're on a rough streak.
It happens. And look, it happened with Giancarlo at the beginning of his first.
Okay, well, first of all, here's the difference. Giancarlo, that was his first game at Yankee Stadium.
That was the Golden Sombrero game, right?
That's when he went 0 for 5 for 5 strikeouts. But still, though, I wouldn't boo him in April.
We wouldn't. We wouldn't. There are some things expected in the big markets when you're a big guy, big contract. Yes, there are sometimes naive fans that expect every game, home run, da. But he eventually, slowly, turned that season around, had great numbers towards the end, but still, we're looking pulling it all the way back to David Ortiz. He would average 80, 85, 90 strikeouts and have just as many plate appearances, 600 to 700 a year. We don't see anymore when a big guy who seems to be unathletic, you would think you could throw 98-mile-an-hour fastball inside and he wouldn't be able to get to it. If you ever threw fast up and into him, he usually sent it over that deep wall in Fenway.
Oh, yeah.
Good grief. So we are going to say this. David Ortiz.
We love you, man.
We love you. we're tipping that cap to you.
Yep, as always.
Not only do you deserve it because you're a great baseball player, definite Hall of Fame,
and also a great overall human being. Like, I remember after the marathon bombings back in 2013, his speech, I'm going to say it, when he's like, this is our city, and no one's going to dictate our freedom. Stay strong. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I felt that. I'm
too.
like, you could feel that.
I loved it. And yes, even in the moment, they didn't bleep it out on live television. But
it was so unexpected. That's
why.
It
was so much more just about like what he did to lift that city in such a tough time. I mean, we look at like 9/11 and the Yankees and the Diamondbacks are in the World Series. How tense and how downtrodden, how tragic everyone's lives were outside of that. But just if not for a moment, if not for an afternoon or a ball game, these players, they get to put an entire city, sometimes an entire country, on their backs. And David Ortiz not only did that for the entire city of Boston, he put so many minds at ease and put so many smiles on people's faces. And, they end up going on to win the World Series that year.
He also got World Series MVP, I remember that.
And he gets World Series MVP, so what else can you ask for from a leader of not only baseball players, but a leader of men? So David Ortiz, we thank you very, very much.
Yes, sir.
But with all those wins that happened,
we experienced they experienced one loss.
One loss happened recently for them. The NHL Finals Game 7 were last night.
Now, I don't watch hockey at all, but I knew it was games.
I do. I love it.
I know, but I'm starting to like it a little bit more. I remember
it's so exciting. Playoff hockey.
I remember that I was watching the first period yesterday, and I'm like, oh wow, this is very fast paced. So high. First of all, the Bruins should have been up 3-0 after that first period.
And Bennington was
absolutely ridiculous. I thought he was going to get an MVP or something.
Maybe he will. Or who got MVP? I don't know.
I think Ryan O'Reilly did.
Of course. He's the sexy captain center. Won a lot of key face-offs in their own end. It was the Tuukka Rask story for Boston.
The Swiss cheese.
No, not Swiss cheese.
Not that?
He was a stud. Because I watched the entire playoffs, and I will tell you, James only saw yesterday, and it was game 7. Of course, but he thinks Tuukka Rask did have a tough game.
He did have a tough game.
He was Swiss cheese yesterday. Yeah. But knowing the entire playoff stretch that these Boston Bruins had, their defense was thinned out. They lost first off a player, then Zdeno Chara breaks his jaw, but since he's a tough beast MFer, he just gets a few staples to keep his jaw on and says it's just a bruise, I want to play. The doctors clear him because that's hockey, man. That is hockey. High pace, high violence. These guys do it night in, night out. But the Bruins defense was lacking.
It was a little shaky. And
Tuukka Rask made, oh my God, so many saves. The average, I think, was he was shot on 35 times a night. The other teams they faced, the Bruins only had 24 shots a night. Their power play was always key. They averaged 1 a game. But Tuukka Rask got them there. They weren't even supposed to maybe even be there, but their goalie kept them. So, Game 7 comes along. He's bound to have at least one the dam breaks type moment, and it was last night.
It happens to the best of us. Not just in hockey, but everywhere.
Yes, and like you said, not just in hockey. Boston, you've had plenty of championships. Let me just read it out loud real quick.
Boy, here
because there was the whole thing with Boston and the curse and
the city of champions.
Woo!
Well,
they'll say they always they had this thing. We never win. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen?
The
2000s have spoken differently.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We can change that now because the Bruins, they won it back in 2011.
Yeah.
And yes, they didn't win it back until 1972.
Yeah.
But the Red Sox, we've got 2004.
Yep.
2007.
Yep.
2013.
Yep.
2018.
Yeah, of course. You guys were fantastic last year.
Yes. The Celtics, even they won it back in 2008, 1986, 84, 81. That's pretty recent.
Yeah.
Right? And let's not forget
and of course the Patriots.
Good God.
We get it. You guys are great. In and out every year. La 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 la.
Tom Brady. Once he took over, like you said, Drew Bledsoe got injured. Tom Brady.
He decided to be the big deal.
The great. Tom Brady.
Oh, he is great. He is great.
He is great.
There's no doubt in my mind he's great.
They won it.
Think of it this way. He got suspended 4 games and they still won the Super Bowl that year.
Was that the Matt Castle year? Matt Castle played 4 games. Oh, no, that was...
No. That's when Tom Brady
Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Garoppolo, then they had Brissett. They had Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett
for a little bit, and then
third
Brady
stringer came in. NC State, Jacoby, represent Wolfpack. I will say that's what a good team looks like, because it doesn't matter. Like, the quarterback's kind of an important position, but if you can have your team win still with that, that's just beautiful. So this is why they have championships in 2002, 2004, 2005, 2015, 17, and of course last year or this year, 19.
Well, they could have had 2 more, but my Giants decided to spoil the party. But obviously that was the past. Now
David Tyree.
I know the Patriots fans right now are going to be like, but we won last year and the year before that. La, la, la.
Well, yeah, they have. They can actually say that now. So our point is, put it to rest. The curse is lifted. All you Boston guys, you got plenty of wins. It's okay.
It's time for the city of New York.
Yeah, it's time for us to get back on the board.
Yeah.
But it's nice that a St. Louis team got a win.
It was their first ever Stanley Cup
Stanley Cup title. And the Cardinals really haven't been saying much. The Rams moved out of St. Louis.
Yep, and there's no basketball team in St. Louis, so
precisely.
So good for them.
Good for them. You know, they must have been nuts last night.
Well, they were showing the game at Enterprise Center and also Busch Stadium, and obviously everybody was going nuts
because we forgot that was in Boston last night.
Yep, of course.
Oof.
It was their first Game 7 in Boston since I think the Celtics played back in 1984. So about 35 years since a Game 7 has been played in Boston.
That's actually pretty fascinating considering they've been in so many championships recently. But usually they dominate. They've dominated all, except for the Celtics, but they've dominated all their championships. And the Patriots have had a tough go at it. But they've clearly dominated the seasons they've played in. They've clearly been the best team. They've gotten their wins. Let's move on, City of Boston.
All right.
Because I will say this. Current NBA Finals. It's an interesting story.
It has been an interesting. You got the Raptors the first time ever in the NBA Finals.
St. Louis not getting love. Toronto's finally getting some little love.
I will talk about the KD injury a little bit later with the Toronto fans. But anyway, Toronto against Golden State Warriors. They've won back-to-back champions, trying to go for their third.
They are
third in a row.
And no one really expected this narrative to unfold that the Toronto Raptors would look like and be the better basketball team. They have all their pieces, which was not expected. All these injuries that are happening with the Warriors. They had.
It seems kind of bizarre, but everyone wants to make the excuse if they lose that the Warriors or the injuries are the reason the Warriors lose.
It's making them the true underdog again, which is really weird to say. The Raptors go up 3-1, and backs against the wall in Toronto. The Warriors they
came out on top, although.
Such a close game, by the way.
The Raptors made a couple of questionable calls towards the end.
The Raptors did make a couple of questionable calls and shot very poorly. The Warriors had to shoot amazing. I think it's something like 20 of 42 or something like that, and from 3, I think. And then the Raptors were 8 of 32.
Oh.
Way worse. That was just to have a 1-point win.
Oh God, that's like 25%. That's 25%.
So think of it. If
that can
the
happen.
Raptors just have a little bit better of a shooting night, they really need a lot of things to happen. The Warriors, they're out Boogie Cousins. They were out Klay Thompson for a little bit. He got hurt a little bit.
They got no more Kevin Durant now.
Andre Iguodala
has been out. So basically, it's been Curry, Green, and
now Thompson's back. So
Thompson is back.
There you go. But KD.
Ooh, I feel bad for him. I feel so bad for him.
That's the right way. Like, I never really thought to myself, is Kevin Durant really sitting out NBA Finals? Like,
it doesn't strike me as that.
The media really drove this. I wonder if it's honestly the media's fault, because we do know from the past Kevin Durant is a little bit of I don't want to say sensitive, but he does make burner accounts and go on and kind of troll and try to find people that talk poop about him.
Well, it's exactly. Well, think of it this way.
The media into
this is the guy. Don't beat him. Join him. Joining the Warriors.
Easy
Obviously,
to hate.
he's going to get a little bit of hatred. You don't know what's going to be happening once he leaves.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, he does that. He does have that little edge where people are like, wait a minute, you lose to this team, so then you go play for them? It's his man, his choice. But at least this narrative of this finals was turned unfortunately, into like a tragic direction for KD and for his career because this is an Achilles. This is a ruptured Achilles.
You saw it happen. It was like an explosion went on in his leg.
Oh God! And I wonder if it was because he started to feel his calf or whatever the deal was. Like he started walking, pressuring his feet differently. So all of a sudden, like airing lightly this way made his leg go. Who knows?
I don't know. It could have been a lot of things, but just watching that, it's like, oh man, you can't help but feel bad because this is a guy who wants to try to help his team because they're down 3-1.
Yeah.
Now it's 3-2 now. But
yeah, they're down 3-1. The fact that he did just put on his jersey and come back showed a lot because at least like people were like, okay, here comes Kevin Durant. He's gonna put on his cape, be the superhero that saves his team.
You know what? It could have been.
It silences the people mocking the man because you cannot doubt or question his courage, his tenacity, and his willingness to win. He sacrificed literally himself to at least try to be there for his team.
Yeah.
People were doubting him. People thought he was not faking it, but people thought something weird was going on, like he was sitting out trying to be like, oh, you want to win without me? Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. It's like, no.
And then look what happens. He comes back on the court first quarter.
And then he gets injured, which leads me to what I wanted to say about the Toronto fans.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. If a player gets injured,
even if it's light,
you should never ever give them a standing ovation and clap and cheer. I'm sorry. That really pissed me off completely because first of all,
it was a negative standing ovation, by the way, not a positive one.
No, there's nothing positive about that. See, that is what annoyed me the most. And Kyle Lowry, a lot of people said it best.
And Serge Ibaka too.
Serge Ibaka, everyone's telling fans to please just shut up, shut the hell up, let the man get helped up because
this is real. This is this man's life.
It's more than just basketball.
Exactly. More than just basketball. And you know what? To be honest, the fans, they don't know exactly the extent of the injury, and I'm definitely not bailing them out on this one because I was listening on the radio earlier, ESPN radio, and Stephen A. said he's met a lot of Toronto fans. He was so confused but pleasantly surprised to see how polite they were, how nice they were. But in the mass scale, individually, he met a bunch of Raptors fans saying they were very, very polite, very kind fans. But he says that's what confused him most on the mass scale when they see KD go down. Yes, it's like, oh yes, their best player is not out. But as a human being, no matter what sport you're playing, no matter what cause is behind it, you do not cheer when you go that low for somebody else to be hurt.
No, that's just you do this kind of moment when you see a player get hurt. Think of it this way: when I saw Gordon Hayward, when Gordon Hayward got injured, or when Paul George got that injury, even when Sean Livingston had that injury. All I just did was this, just be like.
And you know what? That's somebody's basketball pauses for a second, and their lives step in. These guys, they don't just put these jerseys on for you at home, man. They leave the court and they have a life to live. Mm-hmm. A ruptured Achilles is a bitch, man.
You're usually out for an entire year.
Yeah, at the best. They were bringing up an old player who, I forget his name, some guy who never won, but he was great. He had a ruptured Achilles, and he told his story. He was lucky to come back after 9 months. He wanted to prove the critics wrong that your career is over after that.
Wasn't the case that time.
But
I'm trying to figure out the player too.
It's what's his name? You at home, send us a comment.
Send us a thing.
Who's that famous basketball player who's not Hakeem Olajuwon? Or was it?
Was it the 90s? 2000s?
Yeah, it was the 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
All right. True NBA fans, if you guys know the answer.
True NBA fans,
send it
a message.
Send it to me.
This is the trivia question. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, perfect.
The clues are he never won an NBA championship.
All right, so it's not Olajuwon then.
No, he never won an NBA championship. And it's not. Anyways, he ruptured his Achilles.
We'll figure it out.
We're not gonna figure it out. You figure it out.
They're gonna figure it out, and you let us know.
And whoever you are, if you send us the right answer, we'll give you a shout out.
We'll give you a shout out. Or I'll play a song for you.
And a little bit of serenade.
Right.
But yes. So, I will say, with Kevin Durant and his wheel falling off, so to speak, leads me into my personal life story yesterday. And I'll make it quick.
Okay. First of all, the Kevin Durant thing is sad. Yours is not sad.
Mine's pretty funny.
It's freaking hilarious.
You know, I'm just driving along. I had a low air in my tire, and I had an appointment for today, the next day, when it was happening yesterday, to get my tires done. But start driving on this like gravel road, on a main road that they're doing always construction on. It's been happening for 20 years. When are they gonna finish? And all of a sudden, I feel like I'm like that. Hopefully, that's the gravel. And then I exited the gravel, and of course, I can hear it. The rim, the tire's flat. And no, I don't have a donut because I already had a flat tire before and put the donut on, and then somebody threw the donut away. I don't even know what happened to the donut. But this is all well and good. You know, you call AAA, you get it right out of there. When you have to take a massive bathroom break. Not just number one.
How about both?
Number two.
Both? Yep.
I'm on a main, very busy road during rush hour. There's literally not even enough room for me to be pulled over to the side with my flashers on. So much so that the right-hand turn up in front of me, tons of cars were coming up behind me, not looking at both of my flashers on. They're just doing their thing, texting while driving and doing whatever they're doing.
Being
and
distracted.
I had to stick my arm out the window, go around. A, can you see the tire not on? And B, can you see the black flashers? No. So all this time I'm waving traffic on, I'm clenching as hard as I can.
That's not healthy for you, by the way.
Not good, man.
That's just
not
bad.
good. And it's like everyone can say, you know, I can hold it. This was not one of those times. I'm just saying, there's this little construction area going on over here. So those construction workers with massive mounds of dirt. It was that bad. I ran into this dirt looking for an edge, and I found an area where I was hidden from the construction workers. But then I turned around, and I was about to drop my pants. The entire road was right there, and all the cars just sitting in traffic. I'm like, okay. I had to do what all men had to do back in the day. I took it into the woods.
Deep into the woods.
Well,
think of it this way: if you actually did it in the dirt, it's actually a good disguise if you think about it, because it is the same color.
Yes, I did. But I couldn't find clearance of view. They could all see me, and it was that bad. I had to go. I ran across traffic, jumped over the median, trudged through like 3 feet tall of God knows what. Hopefully not poison ivy. Ran all the way up.
I don't think you want that kind of experience again.
Ooh, and definitely not with my pants down. Ran into the woods. I came to a clearing of somebody's house, so I had to keep on going into the woods. I looked around. I finally found it. It was just me and this squirrel. I knew he was fine with it. Drop trowel, 1, 2, coming out, done. That was tough, man.
Done as could be, but
done. But
when you told me that story, I kind of laughed a little bit.
Do I even bring up the wiping situation? No, I don't think I'm going to bring that situation up.
What, did you use a leaf?
My mother doesn't like me talking about these things, and
all right, fine. We'll just keep it.
We'll digress.
We'll very digress.
I didn't have to wipe. I'm clean pooper.
Oh!
Anywho, you know what, man? I just say
you know, why don't you don't wipe?
I do, but I didn't have to in this instance because it was bam, bam, baby. So,
what? I'm sorry.
I'm going to redirect this conversation because I told a little quick life thing. I think James should tell us what interesting thing he did.
Oh, so basically
on a date the other day.
So I went on a date a couple days ago. I was basically telling off my secret hidden talents, obviously one of them being that I know my baseball stuff.
Stat keeping.
Yeah, big time stat keeping. I don't know how this big noggin of man just keep all this like baseball information. So I told my date, pull out the teams that won the World Series. I bet I can name them all the way back from the 1970s.
World Series winners. So wait, why don't we put James on the spot right now?
Dun, dun, dun.
What do you think I'm going to ask you? You have no idea, do you?
No, I actually do not.
Why don't you tell us all the World Series losers?
Losers? Okay, all right.
You have 1 minute.
1 minute? How far back am I going?
As far as you can.
All right, you keeping an eye out on the time then?
Yep.
Go ahead. Go. All right. 2018, 2017 was the Dodgers. 2016 was the Cleveland Indians. 2015 was the New York Mets. 2014 was the Kansas City Royals. 2013 was the St. Louis Cardinals. 2012 was the Detroit Tigers. 2011 was the Rangers. So was 2010. 2009 was the Philadelphia Phillies when we beat them to get number 27. 2008 was the first time Tampa Bay Rays. 07 was the Rockies. 06 was the Tigers. 05 was the Astros. 04 was the Cardinals. 03 was the us. The Yankees. That was terrible that year. 02 was the Giants. 01 was us again. 2000 was the Mets. 1999 was the Braves. 1998 was the Padres. 97 was the not Marlins, Indians. 96 was the Braves. 95 was the Indians. 94 we had no World Series. 93 was the Phillies. 92 was the Braves. 91 was the Braves once again. 90 was the Oakland A's. 89 was the San Francisco Giants. 88 was the Oakland A's. 87 was the Cardinals. 86 was the Boston Red Sox. 85 was the Cardinals. 84 was the San Diego Padres. 83 was the... Oh, no. Wait. I got it. Was it the Phillies?
Yep.
Okay, 82 was the Brewers. 81 was us. 80 was the Kansas City Royals. 79 was the Orioles. 78 was the Dodgers. So was 77. 76 was us, the Yankees. 75 was the Boston Red Sox. 74 was the... Hold on, I need a deep breath for a second. Cause
I'm going to cut you off there because, dude, in a minute, you went all... That was the Dodgers.
All right.
73.
Dodgers, Mets.
Yep.
Reds.
Yep.
72 was also...
72 was the Reds.
72 was the Reds. 71 was the...
And we're going to end there.
Okay,
Baltimore,
yeah,
that's impressive, dude.
I know.
That's...
I was kind of like losing
Wow.
I was kind of losing my breath towards like the end a little bit.
No, that was cool.
Like,
You did that though, dude. He got them all right. And I was wondering if he was going to say that the strike year. Got it. Strike year. And I will say that that brings us to a beautiful end. James, not only am I impressed, but you did that with style. You did that with...
Yeah, I know. Hold on. We got to do a quick Yankee update, all right?
Can we? Because the time with the thing,
Fine. Quick update. And Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton coming back very soon.
When they come back, the question is...
Who's getting out?
Who's getting out?
Is it Maven? Is it Frazier? Are we gonna get Stroman? Are we gonna get Bumgarner? Are we gonna win?
Are we gonna win?
Are we actually gonna win for once?
Yes, we are.
All right.
Because also we know that the role players have been great. We love you, Cameron Maven.
Love you. Clint Frazier. You are a question mark right now.
Stop being a meanie weenie and answer your own questions.
Answer your own freaking questions.
Don't leave it for your teammates. Step up, be a Yankee. That's what a Yankee is.
Yes.
This concludes
All
episode
right.
18.
Sir Didi. I'm sorry, I can't get enough of
Just
Sir
like
Didi
him,
right
we're back. We're ready. And we'll be back next week with some more James and TJ. But until then, I'm not James Yevon. I'm TJ Stolzenberg.
And I'm not TJ Stolzenberg, but I'm James Yevon.
And we'll see you next week.
Yes.
Rock and or roll. Good shit.
That was good.
Why'd you squeeze that in? We couldn't. That was great.
That was good. Come on.
Because we took a minute to do it beforehand. So
Okay. First of all, that Yankee talk was like 30 seconds.
That was